Hey, beautiful people, redo. Thanks for joining me here. I wanted to do a little energy update and some mini reads for all of y'all. So if you were just joining me on my last live, I had to restart it. So thanks for being here. Happy to see you. So we recently had Uranus retrograde last week. Hello. Thanks for joining me, beautiful people. Happy to see you. And that really opened up the doorway for a lot of things for a lot of people. Hello, beautiful people. Thanks for joining me. And so the Uranus retrograde, well, let me talk about Uranus, the planet itself, and what that means in the first place. So it's considered the great awakener in the 5D perspective of astrology. Hello, thank you. I have a field of sunflowers that I'm growing. It's one of them. And that represents kind of metaphorically what we saw, me being here in California. We've had tremendous amount of fires and devastation, as well as lightning and thunderstorms and everything else that you can imagine. And so Uranus, being that planet considered the Great Awakener, illuminates for us in a moment things we haven't seen or discovered, or a new understanding and knowing, a claircognizance, so to speak, effect. And it's not one of those particular planets that ushers in the change and the structure and the reform and the rebirth like Saturn would, or Pluto in this indication. But it's really somewhere the planet that shows you with an embodiment energy. It's like a feeling, the clairsentience. Hello, thank you. Happy to see you, beautiful people. And it becomes kind of like a blueprint, like a download, like information that we receive that's not on our conscious level completely. It's very much imprinted in this subconsciously as well. It's kind of like a revealing and unraveling of where we're going and what we're doing, kind of like a compass, and the trajectory shifting, and it being from an internal guidance point rather than something that we're thinking about doing and a goal that we're actioning and efforting towards. It's more so around this internal knowing, if that makes sense, with the Uranus planet itself. So when it's in retrograde, it's sudden flashes of illumination of like, oh wow, I need to be doing this. And it's things you've known all along. Hello, beautiful people. It's things that have been in your soul blueprint. Hi, for those of you that are joining me again. Sorry about that. I had to start over. Cut out. So anyway, grateful to have you all. Thanks for being here. And so it's that kind of revealing on the inner level, inner plane, but taking the conscious action to go with it. So when it's in retrograde, and with the corresponding planets that we have with Mars and Venus and the things that are going on right now, it's really bringing attention to our relationships, to our boundaries, to our long-term goals, desires, and becoming, right? Like the energy that we're becoming. Hello, beautiful people. And so we're going to see a whole lot of transformation in our interpersonal relationships, not only with ourselves, and based on what house that falls in for you, of where Uranus and the sign particularly that it's highlighting. You're going to have very specific areas in your life that are illuminated. And many people that have been working with clients and friends alike have things around relationships, telling people how you really feel about them, right? That kind of unrequited love thing. Ending relationships or long-term friendships that were based on superficial things as opposed to who you really are and where you're really going. Dissolving business agreements and contracts that no longer are really in alignment for you, and bringing in your soul tribe, your high vibe tribe, right? The people that resonate at your level, that have the same principles, that have the same values, that have the same virtues, that think the same way, that feel the same way, that have the same level of humanitarianism, and social viewpoints, and how to unfold that world that's best for one and all, right? So we're seeing that first internally with the retrograde that's taken place. That's a lot of people I know have had sudden ahas this last week about a little tiny shift on what they could do, or kind of that momentum gaining urgency within them, but also that idle aspect, right? Like pumping the brake and pumping the gas. Like they know they need to move forward, but it's not quite the right time. And what's different about the Uranus retrograde than maybe Mercury, more so about communication, is it's not going to be a sudden, instantaneous shift in your physical reality. It's more so a sudden instantaneous shift in your personal reality inside, and then you naturally just kind of take this one step after another, and when you rest and pause in between this kind of pathway that gets led before you, and it's like you're taking the steps before you know where you're going, is what's really happening for so many right now collectively. And it's kind of that veil that we're in of not certain 100%, but we know that it's going to work out and it's going to be exactly what it's supposed to be, and it's in the trajectory, it's in the lane that we're supposed to be moving in. So anyway, what I found for me for Uranus retrograde is it's really about that certainty, right? It's the absolute clear knowing that you're in alignment, you're on the right path, and the people that are meant to be with you and to walk beside you will be, and the people who aren't are falling away. And that's just the basic kind of, unraveling aspect. But there's so much around business taking flight at the same time. We're all going through a collective grieving, right? We went through this huge aspect of anger, if that makes sense, at the beginning of COVID and everything that happened, like the world's healing that suppressed anger. And what happens under anger is grief, right? So there's a sadness that's taking place, and we're seeing that not only in the planetary, natural events and disasters that are happening with hurricanes and fires and thunderstorms and everything else you can imagine. It's an aspect of letting those emotions out, those grieving emotions. And while we grieve, we also let in joy. It's one of those things, we cry in laughter and we cry in sadness. And it's something that kind of happens simultaneously. We don't even mean to sometimes, right? Like you start laughing when you're in the middle of tears, just because they're very closely related on the emotional scale, because emotions are circular, right? They're not a linear line. So, pain and pleasure, they touch, right? They're friends. So it's very much that feeling of it being an expansive, knowing things are shifting, and this momentum and trajectory is led before us, and we're taking that guided steps and actions. But it's also the letting go of everything that we was and our ideas behind what we thought it would be, and the attachments we've created to our identity with that. So moving through that anyway, right, and feeling the sense of calm. There's this huge sense of calm, even knowing there's storms and all kinds of wild things around us while we're grieving, because we know that what we're letting go of on a collective conscious level is getting replaced with better. And the more that we work in unison together, the more that we focus on collective meditation, gatherings of spirit, of similar time frames that we work on similar things, or working in collaboration towards the same common goals, that is what's going to really reveal the next steps for us, and creating a world that's best for all. So being patient with that, knowing that the momentum isn't going to be that leap of faith that we are expecting, that we've dealt with in the past. It's really that subtle next step shows up when it's perfect time, and we step on it, and then the next one, and we do it again, and we do it again, and it's at a slow and steady pace right now. It's not something that's going to be like, wow. It's gradual, and that's really what the Great Awakener is revealing, is it's the knowing that we take action on because we build trust as we go. We gain the momentum from the trust, and from that guided action, that inspired action that we correspond with it. So I hope that resonates, and that kind of reveals a little bit about what's going on with the planets at the moment. So thanks so much for joining me. Happy to have you all. I felt called to do some mini reads for those of you whose message will be for the collective, that would benefit all for the best. So if you would like a mini read and you're interested in that, go ahead and put your name in below, or hands, drop some hearts, me, whatever works good for you. Love you all. Thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure. So for those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, please feel free to share this out as well. I love to make us impact as many people as possible. And please put your name in. And if your message will be for the collective, I will share it. And if it's something that you need guidance for that's personal, reach out to me. You can book a private session with me. Okay, I'm going to tap in real quick and see who feels like the collective message is for all. Candace, it feels like you. I'm drawn to you, my dear. So I ask that whatever messages come forward be for the highest and best good for one and all, unfold the win-win-win, and provide clarity, direction, and guidance for everyone that's most beneficial at this time. Candace, I feel like there's some stagnation going on. It's like you know what you need to do and you know how to do it, something you're really well versed in. It feels like it's related to business, like you're making a shift in business. You're kind of recircling something that you've done before, but there was a pause, a hesitation, and it has to do with self-worth and self-belief and confidence. It has to do around the physical body. I'm hearing that you've had some limitations with your health, whether that's, mindset and self-sabotaging behaviors, or literal, I hear the word handicaps, what you might consider that. Kind of like a resistance to moving forward. And it feels like you've been dealing with a lot of emotional things related to inner child work around femininity, being a woman, in particular, motherhood, what it's like to be mothered, and parenting in general. It feels like there is a longing that you're moving through, but also transparency right now about, I know exactly what to do, and I know how to do it, and I know when to do it and why to do it. And there's confidence in that, but there's also an ambiguousness to it. And I'm hearing that what you're being asked to do is just kind of rest and sit tight and wait, and kind of build that routine and build that structure right now that supports consistency and a healthy body and a healthy mind. It feels like in the past, when you've started new things in business, you've kind of gone all or nothing, and burned yourself out, and then weren't able to carry the momentum long term. And you're being asked to completely do that differently this time, and to move a little bit, and then 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 a little bit. Oh gosh, of course. How could I? Can't even make it that up, right? Pregnant. And yes, lots of emotional work around the mother wound after losing. Yes. So that feels like what you're supposed to hold space for. And it feels like it's going to be some kind of a support group around supporting women through, losing femininity, whether that's literally, and gaining it through, whether that be motherhood or through your own identity, if that makes sense. It's compassion. I'm hearing that what's most important for you right now to embody is compassion and to be gentle with yourself. But I'm hearing that what you're going through is shifting, whether it's a coaching business or you're an intuitive yourself. I'm seeing like you could be a journalist or a writer or a copywriter, and really into the spiritual arts and esoteric, and you kind of identify with the healer and the new age movement is what I'm hearing. And you want to create something that you can offer that will leave a legacy and help other people, that's uniquely your own, but while you're going through what you're going through, I feel like there's a hesitation of like, everyone's already doing what I want to do, this kind of pullback energy, and you're just being asked to rest is what I'm hearing. Like, it will all unfold in perfect timing. You will get the information that you need. I'm hearing to revisit working with cards again, whether that's tarot or oracle cards, that you're going to get that kind of inspiration and guidance to help you not only through the emotional work that you're going through, but it might lead you into creating your own deck, because there's an artistic side that I'm seeing that wants to be expressed, whether that's through painting or drawing or the natural talents that you have. But I'm just hearing, spend as much time as you can safely outside if you're in a place that's, smoke-free, and connecting with water, connecting with nature, and allowing yourself to kind of be fluid with the emotions that flow through you, because there will be a time for you to embody your masculine energy. But right now, you're being asked to truly receive and be in the receiving energy and let things come to you and be delivered to you, because you've worked very, very relentlessly on that. This is a rest period for you, and just to enjoy the little things, the care, the nurturing, the play, the laughter, the fun, the joy. So I hope that resonates. Lots of love to you. Aw, Kayla, I'm so glad. It feels like it was meant for me. So freaky. You're so funny. Gregory, Lori, how lovely. Thanks for being here, guys. Okay, so who else would like a mini read for the collective? Of course, it'll be for you personally, but it'll also benefit everybody else. Okay, so I'm trying to see who commented before, if there was anybody specifically. You are so welcome, Candace, and it's such a pleasure. Hi, Gregory. It feels like it's you, my dear. And please feel free to share this out to anyone that you think would resonate or benefit from this at this time. I appreciate it. Gregory, it feels like I see you like on a kayak, treading water, so to speak, like kind of paddling up this rapid kind of perspective. Like you can feel the forward momentum, and you've been gaining what feels like a lot of following, a lot of influence, and you're in the midst of shifting your financial portfolio pretty dramatically. But it's triggering your self-worth. It's triggering wounding that you have around consistency and follow through. And it's making you question if you can do this for the long haul, if you have it, what it takes to actually reach this level of completion of the goals that you've dreamed about. And it's kind of like that fearful moment when you're doing something for the first time and your body tingles with fear and you feel like you might throw up kind of feeling is what I'm getting. But when you finally get through it, you're like, oh my God, that's actually thrilling. It's exhilarating. It's incredible. I have like this zest for life kind of feeling. And I'm hearing that it's what you're going through right now is some of the greatest highs you've ever been through, but it's also triggering your greatest lows that are unprocessed. So there's an addictive quality to it as well. So the addictive quality is drawing you in to rush towards the results now, but your intuition is telling you to hold the reins back and to be patient. I'm covered in goosebumps. This feels really important that you listen to the intuition, even knowing your patterning is to go all in and to run after it. You will create turbulent water and lose a lot of people that have just jumped on ship with you if you go too fast, too hard, because you won't be able to touch everyone that you're impacting to the degree that you want to. To build the interpersonal connections, it takes that steady and slow, consistent communication. And I'm hearing that for you to grow and exponentially improve your business right now, it's about really paying attention to the details, really creating bonds and loyalty through consistency. You're healing your judgment of your lack of follow through in the past. And you're doing that through being repetitious with rest and effort. Repetitious with rest and effort instead of balls to the wall, exhilarated, exhausted, then pass out on the sand and the water splashes all over you kind of thing. Like, I'm just hearing that it's so critical that you keep this methodical, intentional pace, as uncomfortable, as unworthy as it may make you feel. You are completely divinely aligned. So trust it, continue to give gratitude for it every single day. Allow others to support you and to receive help. Staying in the feminine energy is equally as important as the masculine energy and effort and action. The femininity in you is saying, receive the connections, the community, the emotional support, the laughter, and the joy. So I hope that resonates. Lots of love for you. Fully trust. Exactly. Oh, good. I'm so glad it's on point for you and you're covered in chills. That's how I know it's true, right? Truth bumps. That's my favorite. I love that. So, such a pleasure, such an honor. I hope that serves you well and anyone else that's watching. So who else would like a mini read that's for the collective? Thank you, darling. Appreciate y'all. It feels good. Feels good to share. Feels right. So for those of you just joining and tuning in now, go ahead and put your name in. Do a little mini read for you. This message will be for the collective. Aw, love you too, to the moon and back. How sweet are you? Patricia, absolutely. It feels like you, my dear. I'm seeing you kind of in this spiraling pool of water, where it feels like your kids are really in alignment with you. I see 3 of them who are kind of following suit with what you're doing, and it feels like you're taking on kind of feels like a homeschool approach, or that you're leading the way, and that you actually are moving from your feminine energy and receiving into your masculine leadership side of showing people the right way. And by right, I mean what's in alignment and congruent and true for you. That's optimum. And there's a sense of like purpose and direction and clarity, but there's also an underlying of celebration from how long it's taken you from your own internal gauge of time to actually get to a point where you can celebrate your effort and being consistent. I'm hearing it's important for you to review your definition of the word weak and allowing yourself to receive help, but also knowing when to give help. I'm hearing that you've been working really firmly on boundaries with people, especially masculine energy. And there's almost like a refusal of help because there's a part of you that's vulnerable and gentle, that's afraid to be influenced negatively because there's an impressionable side of you from your inner child that just wants to be liked and loved, who's willing to kind of bend and chameleon and adapt to her environment. And I'm hearing that part of you kind of walled off from receiving help from masculine energy because you've been what you see as misguided or misdirected or manipulated or abused or used in that component from that place within yourself. Hello, beautiful people. And becoming friends with men with masculine energy is a way to help you receive that help and to receive that sense of safety from within and your own masculine energy. So I'm hearing that it's about putting your walls down and your guard down specifically, and letting in that extra resource of I hear the word momentum. Like when there's people that are doing what you're doing, which is creating a new way and a new pathway. I'm hearing for education specifically, like something to do with you teaching or instructing or sharing what you know, your divine wisdom and your guidance. Hello, beautiful people. And you're moving at a different pace. It's very clear, it's very concise, it's very forward. I keep seeing you like in this boat. Like with your kids specifically, like you're going that way and you're the leader. And I'm imagining the metaphor of that being about like you're showing people how to process their emotions and how to move with the natural currents and flow of life and how to learn from that, right? And that feels like your purpose work that's being really revealed to you with the Uranus retrograde. And then healing the judgments that you've had around men being misguided or not using their intuition and being too logical. Like these are internal judgments. These are obviously not things you're thinking about on a conscious level from what I can understand. But what I'm hearing is really important, that you learn to partner and collaborate with people and not just have to lead, not just have to take the show, but you allow other people to teach you, but at a pace that you're comfortable and familiar with, right? Letting a little bit in at a time and digesting it, maintaining that teachability. So if it's too much too fast, like you can put the brakes on whenever you're ready. But spending time in gardening, cultivating the things that you're growing right now, seeing something come to fruition that you've nurtured, that you've mentored, that you've been responsible for, it's going to bring you a sense of joy, fulfillment, and completion that you haven't really reached before in other aspects. And it feels like you've started and stopped in business a few times, and that's perfectly okay and acceptable. But you're moving forward in a way where it's going to be consistent, because you are consistent, and you're not giving yourself credit that you're consistent in this particular area. Regarding being financially disciplined, having boundaries with people that used to take from you. I'm just seeing that you're in the process of a transformation. I'm hearing you may relocate, or you've been thinking about relocating, and answering the call to your heart, but logically your mind does not agree with that. Your mind is giving you all the reasons why to stay put. But I'm hearing that you're supposed to be moving, and take that as a metaphor or literal, whatever you want to. But I'm hearing that you're supposed to be moving. So moving forward, moving directions, literally, physically moving, however that resonates. So I hope that provides you with guidance that you needed. Thanks so much for listening. Hello, beautiful people. So for anyone that would like a mini read that's for the collective, feel free to reach out and put your name in. And just for those of you tuning in now, that you're so welcome. Oh, I so great. I'm glad to hear that. For those of you that haven't tuned in before, I don't read for everybody. I just read for whose message will be for the collective. And everybody will have a benefit. So happy to hear that, Patricia. That's lovely. So go ahead and put your name in if you're interested in a mini read. And please feel free to share this out if you feel called. I appreciate it. Want to make as much impact and touch as many people as possible. Hello, Maria. Hello, everyone. I'm going to get some water. So if you'd like a mini read, go ahead and put your name in. This is the time. So you could put me, or an emoji, something fun, just so it's obvious. My water bottle's squeaky at the moment. Jennifer, it looks like you. You got it, Patricia. That's awesome. Jennifer Lee Watts, that is. I feel like you are somebody that is filled with pizzazz and energy. Like you're like really off the wall, kind of like bouncy, fun, excited, boisterous, gregarious kind of person. Like people just love being around you because you're like the sunshine. It would not surprise me if you have a lot of Leo in your chart, or even Gemini for that matter. You just have this really charismatic energy that people are so drawn to. And I think there's what I'm hearing is there's a component of where you feel like you have to maintain that all the time, where you just expected to be that hi, and everyone just loves that so much about you. But there's also that side to you that's really like that chills out, that just kind of loves sitting in silence, and enjoying the sounds of nature and that kind of thing. Like just being with yourself, without necessarily quote unquote meditating, but just being in silence is actually quite comfortable and familiar for you. So I'm feeling like in the past it's been kind of extreme. Like, you either fully show up and you're all in, or you're completely that like zero contact, need to recharge, establish yourself again. And what's different with the Uranus retrograde for you is like the bumps, the waves of your energy levels like this in the past are going to be more like this. So there's a consistency and a flow that you're moving into and that you're moving with, and it feels like you're just going to let people see you wherever you're at instead of trying to maintain this image that you had before, of like how you have to be. Like people just love who you are in all stages of your life, whether you're grieving, whether you're laughing, whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're angry. Like people resonate with you as a general vibration. And there's been a little bit of insecurity around that. Like if I feel this way, should I still show up? Should I not show up? Like you care a lot about, how many followers you have, how many visitors you have, how many people you're impacting. So there is a attachment to that you're releasing right now. Because I'm hearing it was something that was that kind of, I'm saying like the figure 8, like it was a give and take relationship where you kind of feed off the energy of other people, but you also feed off energy of when you're alone and having that time. And now it's kind of created a circle instead of that figure 8. It's like a homeostasis, a balance specifically. And because you're growing, you're doing new things, you're being asked to learn new things and to share new things. So I'm hearing that this is a time for growth and expansion for you, like taking new courses on things that interest you, dabbling at things that have always been of interest, but perhaps you kind of pushed out into the future many, many times. Specifically I'm seeing whether that's a writing workshop or editorial, or working with people who do copywriting. It's like putting your pen out there instead of having a fear of, other people are better writers, other people are really great poets, and or other people can convey their message, and I feel like I'm just copying what other people said. Like it's that kind of comparison energy that you're shedding right now. And I'm hearing like this Aquarius kind of vibe, which is like this unique individual that's kind of esoteric, that does their own thing, that follows nobody's drum but their own. Like you're supposed to embody the water bearer, which is the Aquarius energy right now. And literally, if you're in yoga pants and a sports bra and you feel like dancing and that's what your Facebook Live is, like do it, or if it's Netflix and chill, although cancel Netflix if you see what they're putting out right now, though, guys. My own viewpoint on that. Had to interject. Pay attention to the content that's getting shared right now. So anyway, my point is, if you're chilling on the couch, right, and you're hanging out, like being vulnerable and sharing that, you don't have to be all done up every time that you connect with people for your Zoom calls or for your meetings or for anything that you're learning or your classes. Like just be you and let people see all facets of you, because it becomes relatable. And I'm hearing that, whether you're a life coach or you plan to be, feels like you're in the process of like honing in on exactly what you want to do. Like you're a Jill of all trades is what I'm hearing. You've dabbled in a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you've been a distributor for a bazillion things. And now it's like, okay, what do I want to do? I know all of this. I've learned so much about my own growth and how to heal, and I just want to help others do the same. And so I'm hearing that rather than labeling it and going, I'm this, I'm that, and this, it's like just being present and offering whatever you feel called to offer at that time, and having like a generalized blanket kind of business model for that instead of having to make it and rebrand constantly. Um, I'm hearing just be easy on yourself and just put whatever it is you're offering out without labeling you, right? And having something that just a business name or a business model, that blankets with everything. It feels like you're moving into this financial aspect, and congruency with that. Like you went from like kind of like that freelance fun energy and really focused a while ago, that on again, off again energy. So just relaxing with where you're at right now. I think that's the message we're all getting kind of collectively, universally, is to relax and to rest and to take it easy. And like, it's supposed to be easy. So what you're supposed to offer, people will ask you for, is what I'm hearing. And then you put that out. And then you move forward to the next thing. And you listen to your intuition or whatever that's telling you to do specifically. But there's a component of writing that's, not so short. I'm hearing like getting into memoirs, getting into journaling, getting into channeled writing, sharing kind of lengthy things is what's coming up for you. And there's something specifically around writing. There's a value in it, whether that's something that you've brought in from past life and you're supposed to kind of, review it now. But I'm hearing like if you're open for a chart reading, reach out to me. We can schedule something if you want. But I'm hearing look into your North Node, specifically, as well as your midhaven in your astrology chart, because that's going to give you a lot of clarity on what it is you're supposed to be doing exactly. And there's kind of like a, I don't know, maybe energy. And I keep hearing that you're really refocusing on being feminine, staying in your femininity, and surrendering that authority role that you kind of adopted from, the trauma that you experienced in your life before. That's a way for you to stay safe. So you've created safety without needing to put guards or walls up. But it's about creative time, and there's some kind of creative resistance. There's no block, zero block. It's just a resistance to being creative. And I hear it's because you just need more momentum and rest, to let that kind of creative juice brew. And then there'll be like an explosion of it mid-September. So hang tight. I'm excited to see what you do. So follow up. I'd love to hear about it. Who would like a mini read? Aw, Heather, you're so fun. Yeah, it is fun. I enjoy doing it. It's a lot of, it's cool. It's cool to have the gift. It's multiple gifts, I guess. And it just feels good to share. And I feel so calm and relaxed today. Like, I feel like normally I'm upbeat. And I'm like, just in this space of enjoying where I'm at and what I'm doing and life as a whole. Like, I'm just so grateful. I've been through some really tumultuous things, and to keep seeing dragonflies while I'm out here and find 3 feathers today already. It's just like incredible. I just feel so incredibly blessed. All the things I've prayed for and asked for are literally unfolding before me. And I just want to pay that forward. I want to enjoy it and savor it and love it and then offer it out as well. Catherine, it feels like you, my dear. I'm hearing quality over quantity. I think there's a fixation on how much impact you're making, how much money you're making, how many people you are friends with. There's this fixation on quantity, and I'm hearing that you're asked to focus on quality, and it's going to create far more emotional stability and satisfaction having quality relationships over concerning yourself with an abundance of them. That's like a misnomer, that we have in society. It's like, oh, how amazing it must be to, be a famous person and have all these paparazzi and people following us and that kind of stuff. And that is so the opposite. They lose their complete autonomy and, anonymity. And it doesn't mean they're happy just because they are well known, so to speak. So I'm just hearing that you're supposed to be selective with your energy, more than you've ever been, and to really enforce the boundaries that you've developed. And there's a nervousness around that. I'm hearing especially around parenting aspect, around children, like where you love to overgive or you love to indulge others. You must have a Leo in Venus, where you're just like a gift giver is one of your love languages, but you've transcended that into quality time. It used to be like words of affirmation, physical touch were really important to you, and now I'm hearing it's like the quality time more than anything else. And you're still a gift giver, and there's expectations that people have kind of subconsciously set with that based on who you were in the past. And that's where some of your superficial relationships came in. They weren't really based on integrity. It was more like, what could you do for me? What can I do for you? Tit for tat energy is what I'm hearing specifically. And you've moved through that, you're aware of it. You've made the changes, but now you're kind of being asked to confirm that those changes are solid and consistent by having those people show up again. And I wouldn't say more so as a test, but it's a way to anchor in and build a muscle around the boundaries that you've created and established. So cutting yourself a break for how hard you've been on yourself in the past is also one of the things that's kind of the underlying message that I keep getting is, you've really overcome a lot. You've really been through a lot. Celebrating just this kind of like comfortable space that you're in, because it's been so uncomfortable for so long, is big, is important. And I'm hearing pay attention to the signs. You're being given a lot of them, especially with like numerologically numbers. And like animal totems, there's a lot of symbolism and meaning in those. You're probably having very lucid, vivid dreams right now. They're showing me that. And recording those dreams using different applications to do that, whether you're journaling or whether you're, using the Dream Moods app, things like that. Like, it just feels like you're going to be getting a lot of communication from source, from the divine, from your intuition. That's going to help propel you as you move forward. You're going to be refining who's in your life, what's in your life, and what you want to do with your life. And it's continuing to get more narrow. But as you kind of refine it, I'm hearing that it broadens out to as many people that you touch. Your impact becomes bigger. The legacy you leave becomes grander. The more that you refine your niche and what you're really here to do. And you just have so many interests and talents and hobbies. I just feel like you're one of those very gifted people that can do so many things, right? Like, I don't know if there's anything you're not good at, there's like, or you're not interested in is different than not good at. Because of your tenacity, persistence, and dedication, like whatever you apply yourself to, you master, and you do it really well, and you do it very quickly. You're very smart. I'm hearing you have a super high IQ. But in particular, it's not about that. It's not about the superficiality of that. It's really about quality over quantity, and that message is like your underlying theme is what I'm hearing for you to be for your biggest takeaway is asking yourself that on a daily basis. What's the quality of the connection I have with myself? What's the quality of this relationship I have with this person? What's the quality of the energy and the effort I'm putting into this that I'm doing? And that to be your focal point, the quality aspect. So if you're not all in, don't do it. Maybe is a no in disguise. So if it's not 100%, it's not now. And what is now will be easy and effortless and flow and feel so simple. Like, it'll be like, oh yeah, sure, of course. That's the kind of mentality and energy that will be behind what action you're supposed to take. If there's resistance, you have to ask yourself why that resistance is there and what needs to be healed, reviewed, discovered, unraveled before you move forward. So I hope that resonates. Lots of love to you. Okay, let's do a final mini read, so whoever would like one. For those of you just tuning in, thanks for joining me. Happy to have you. I don't read for everyone, just for whose messages I feel will be best for the collective, because that's what we asked for. So go ahead and put your name in and drop an emoji. Let me know you're interested, and you can be the finale. So I appreciate you all being here today. Thanks for sharing space, time, and energy, and being part of the change that we wish to see. Hello! I've got a lot of visitors in my neighborhood at the moment. I'm like, oh, there's people coming from driving by, all kinds of stuff. It's kind of fun. All right, let's see. Just gonna feel it out. Thank you for your patience. Ronnie, I hear that it's you. I'm hearing that you've just healed some major stuff around Dad, and like transforming self-doubt, disgust energy, not accepting your body. I'm hearing that you're moving from like constantly thinking you should be somewhere else in your body, like it should look a different way, it should perform a different way, you should have more energy, you should be able to do X, Y, Z, and B. You're moving through that, and I'm hearing that it's in like an indoctrined ancestral family pattern from your father of feeling like he wasn't good enough and that he constantly needed to, improve. And that was coming from a lack of self-acceptance is what I'm hearing specifically. And that is what's on the table for you, and that I'm hearing you're moving through it and healing it right now, through your change in actions, through your change in behavior. I feel like a hair that's like tickling me. I'm hearing diet and exercise. Like, I don't know if you've heard of like the Pareto rule, which is like the economic understanding of 80-20. And how, 80% of the people do 20% of the work and 20% of the people do 80% of the work. And we see this in sports teams. We see this in supply and demand, with food. We just see this everywhere. It's a natural kind of law that's not really well known. And I'm hearing that you applying that approach of like the 80-20, giving yourself grace for the 20% of the time, that you decide to kind of be impulsive or fall into old patterns. And commend yourself when you're, following consistently with your discipline and your routine and your healthy habits and structure that you've established through the 80%. And allowing that to be a win. You create the rules. And a feather just fell, of course. Pay attention to those signs. A white feather. So that's really cool. I love that for you. So it tells me you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and that there's an element of trust and paying attention to the subtle nuances of your intuition and adapting and adding those little tiny shifts into your diet, into your exercise. Aw, you're so sweet, Emily. Love you too. And giving yourself that same celebratory congratulations that you would for a friend, who just finished a 30-day cleanse or, went on a 5K run or whatever that is. Like, I'm hearing that you deserve to celebrate your successes the way that you celebrate other people's successes. And there's a piece of you that's coming from that masculine side within you, from that fatherhood kind of wounding, and it's never good enough, and it always needs to be more, and it needs to be better, and it needs to be bigger. And that's something that we've also collectively picked up from consciousness as a whole, right? Ooh, phone was going dark there for a second. Can you guys see me? Okay, I'm making sure you can still see me. Looked like it timed out for a minute. So anyway, I'm just hearing that being gracious with your own natural process. Like, it doesn't have to be 100%. You're redefining your definition of failure is what I'm hearing that you do. And allow what you might consider a stumble, a mistake, a fallback to be part of the process, and to embrace that and go, okay, I'm leveling up because I have something that's resisting me from doing it. So looking at it as that growth and expansion, because you were revisiting something from the past that used to keep you from moving forward. Now you're aware of it. Now you catch it. Now it's a brief interlude as opposed to weeks, days, months, or years in that old cycle. And so I'm just hearing, have fun with it. Like, have fun building a routine that you love, If you dread running, then don't run. Bicycle instead, Like, build something that makes you feel good, and helps you kind of biohack your own biochemistry in this aspect, your serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, yourself, by what you eat, by what you do, by how you interact, and be mindful of that. If you're feeling low, asking yourself, what do I need to be my best in this moment, and am I just supposed to sit in this and allow myself to process, or is this an old pattern that's holding me back? And oftentimes it's your need for physical movement is what I'm hearing will shift your mood and your mindset, and how you feel has to do with you creating that biochemistry. Your own pharmacy within you is very much taking that physical action effort towards your health, wellness, and well-being. And I'm hearing that if you've been thinking about going vegan, Start with pescatarian, move into vegetarianism, and vegan would be really great for your physiology. For you, on another feather is falling as we speak. Oh, look at this. I can't even make it up. How cool is that? I love that for you. 2 feathers for your reading. That's so amazing. I'm just my mind's kind of blown. That's so cool. That's really cool. This is my 5th feather today. I've got signs everywhere. So anyway, I guess my point is, as I'm like, oh, this is so awesome. I'm just blown away by that. Let yourself figure it out as you go, and let that be the right path, instead of having to know how to do it, when to do it, why to do it before you even start, because you just create the rules to disappoint yourself and the outcome, instead of learning as you go like a child does, and picks up all of the beauty of the experience and takes that with them, instead of preconceived expectations that just perpetuate disappointment from childhood. So I'm just hearing that's what's most important for you is the 80-20 rule, and looking into the Pareto effect, Pareto. It's also called like the principle, Pareto principle, and giving yourself that patience and understanding as you grow through this path that you're on. Dragonflies seem to be a symbolism, and feathers, because I've seen like 3 dragonflies while I've been doing this channeled message for you. So I know that there's something around transformation in your relationship to Dad, and Dad's relationship to his physical body has to do with how you see your physical body, and that is going to be where the 80-20 really comes in to help you move through that, so that you can find that self-acceptance and that self-love fully and completely in the most optimum way. So I hope that resonates. Thanks so much for joining me. It's such a pleasure. It's such an honor. So for those of you that would like a session with me, feel free to reach out, send me a DM. I will put in all my links. I have a YouTube channel where I do pick-a card readings and astrology updates. I also have courses that I launch on a regular basis to teach you how to do this yourself, because you all have this ability if you haven't already, such as tarot, oracle cards, or direct intuitive like me. So if there's any way that I can support you, I also do evolutionary astrology readings, because I love it. It's just so cool. It's really awesome. Send me a message. So have a great day, guys. Look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care. Thank you.